Hello, nerds! Nerds for Humanity. We are here to talk about the famous Project 2025. What in the Sam Hill is it? And should we be afraid? Or is it not that big of a deal? And maybe just as importantly, what's not in it? So this is going to be a fun one because we're going to use some artificial intelligence to make this stream a little bit easier, because the actual Project 2025 is 922 pages long. And your Nerd for Humanity, I ain't got no time for that. So what I have done is I've uploaded both the Project 2025 PDF, 922 pages of it, into ChatGPT 4.0, and have also uploaded the official Republican Party platform. And I've asked it a bunch of questions like, hey, where do you see the most commonality between Project 2025 and the Republican platform? Where do you see the least overlap? And then I go on to ask it, hey, what are the 2025 and official Republican policy platform positions on immigration, on H-1Bs, on Social Security, sustainability, climate change, all those kinds of things. So rather than talking about, whether Kamala is Indian or Black, by the way, newsflash, like, there are people that can be of multiple races in America. I would encourage Trump to look at his running mates' children. But we're not gonna go into personal attacks. No references to sofas or geriatrics running for president. We're just gonna go into the policy now that I've gotten that all out of my system. And we'll see, what does ChatGPT say about Project 2025 and the Republican official policy platform. So let me share my screen, and I'm going to go into GPT, and we'll talk through it. And then I have to go make dinner for the nerdlings. So who, would you believe it or not, are both in high school now? Can you imagine? God, time has flown by. When I started this channel, they were like, that was 5 years ago. Now they're 16 and 14. So they were, 11 and 9. Golly, crazy. Okay, so let's just see what is all the hubbub about this Project 2025. So first, we asked it to summarize what are the, there we go. What are the biggest areas of overlap between 2025 and the Republican platform? As a reminder, Donald Trump says, hey, I don't know anything about this Project 2025. Ignore the fact that like 2/3 of the people involved with it worked in his previous administration. What we do know is we have the actual 2025 policy, and we have the official approved Trump endorsed platform from the Republican convention. So we can just see, well, what 2025 ideas are intersecting with the official Republican platform. So the first one is border security, complete the wall. That's the Republican platform. It's about the wall. Check those who enter the country. You know, if he wasn't such a kind of a about it. I think a lot of people would say, like, yeah, we should have a more secure southern border, and we should vet people who enter the country. But because Trump makes it so uh, divisive and so rude and so inhumane and dehumanizing, it makes it hard to agree with him on stuff that he actually might be right on. Um, I'll give you. I'm already like 5 minutes in. We're going to go into a tangent, but bear with me. Think about these three things that have come up: immigration, COVID, and let's call it the economy, or maybe climate change, right? So for immigration, he made it so much that, oh, they're poisoning our blood, they're mental asylums, they're from Africa and Asia and South America, as in they're not from Europe. It makes it so it's ooh, I don't want to be associated with that. And you see what Biden did. He kind of overcorrected and then did less border enforcement than Obama. Hopefully Kamala kind of finds that middle ground. But that's one example where, because of Trump being Trump, he kind of made it impossible for the country to actually resolve a hard problem. Like, he just forces everybody to the polar ends of the spectrum. COVID. I mean, it was like, look, if you're on Team Orange, you have to say COVID isn't real. It's just a bad case of a cold. People would have died anyway. They died with COVID, not because of COVID, right? You could just take some hydroxychloroquine and you're good to go. Maybe a little bleach chaser. Or you took the other position, which is like, it's going to destroy half of the planet and we have to shut down everything for a year. And because Trump demonized his political opponents and then therefore made kind of he makes the other positions toxic, that no one can find the middle ground. A third example is climate. Like, his whole drill, baby, drill, everything's fine. We're just going to sell more oil. Really? Really? Come on, man. And so then nobody's going to want to talk about reasonable reform like carbon taxes or carbon dividends or, resilience in the face of extreme weather. So, TLDR is, oh, Emily, love it. Thank you so much. Original Yang Gang viewer since day one. Yeah, thanks, Emily. It has been a long time. Mickey's been around a while as well. She remembers the little nerdlings. They are not little now. One's a junior in freaking high school, and one just started his freshman year in high school. Few years, we're going to be an empty nerd house. Okay. So, definitely overlap around border security and immigration. Overlap around energy independence. So the Republican platform, we will drill, baby, drill, in all caps. This is from the official party platform. It's like Twitterized, dominant with a capital D. If any of you are watching this who are students, please be advised that you're not really supposed to capitalize nouns or adjectives or verbs for emphasis. That's not really a thing in English. You could do it maybe if you're like selling like some product in a supermarket or something, but this is not English. What we're what we're seeing here, but I digress. And then Project 2025 is a little bit more modest. Talks about unleashing all of America's resources. So that's a big area of overlap. So we got wall, drill, slashing of regulations, and ending government interference in energy decisions. I think that means, you know, damn near unlimited, uh, you know, drilling and mining and just do whatever you want kind of thing. Military strength, most modern, lethal, powerful force in the world. It is a very catchy thing. I mean, to be clear, the United States military is, and pretty much since World War II, has always been the most modern, lethal, and powerful force in the world. Um, I think we have bases in like dozens of countries. I would argue we should get more for the amount of money we're spending. Like, should a joint strike fighter? I mean, how? What is the latest cost? Let me just look that up. Cost of joint strike fighter. F-35, 90 million, about 100 million per aircraft. Total program cost is $1.5 trillion. Operating cost per flight hour is 40,000. $100 million per plane. That's significant. Okay, I don't know what Project 2025 is saying. Okay, yes, of course. The military is an extraordinary institution staffed by exceptional people. Okay, great. Healthcare. So, what will the Republicans do about Medicare? Oh, thank you for the super sticker, Emily. Appreciate it. Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I have a new camera, which should be clearer and should give you a better view of the fishies and me, but mainly I think the fishies are cool. Okay, and that's all from channel members. And I am thinking of investing in. I might invest in the Nerds for Humanity board game, which is in development, and hopefully, I don't know if I'll get it out before the election, but I'll tell you this: anybody who's a channel member is going to get a big discount for if they want to get a copy of the board game for themselves. Okay. So, what is the Republican Party going to do about Medicare, chronic diabetes, chronic obesity, chronic pulmonary disease? Um, like anybody who's been around can look and see that we are not the healthiest country in the world, despite the fact that we spend more on healthcare than anyone else. So the Republican platform is will increase transparency, promote choice and competition. Yeah, I don't think that's going to do it. But that's what they're saying. And Project 2025's answer is the federal government should not be involved. Okay, so let's just take a look here. Cost per citizen of healthcare by country compared to outcomes. See if we can find a good data visualization here. Oh, here's one. Let me share this screen. Look at this. So we spend somewhere 12,500 per person for our healthcare, more than any other country. Look at that. The next would be Switzerland and Germany. And this is the growth. This is as a percentage of GDP. Do they have anything about actual outcomes, though? Okay, so that demonstrates how much I think we spend damn near double the average. Okay. Now let's see if we can find the how healthiness of American citizens versus other countries. What is this one? Okay. Life expectancy continued to drop in the US in 2021 while rebounding in most peer countries. So our citizens are living shorter lives than other countries, despite us spending close to twice as much as the average. We died more because of COVID. You look at that big jump, like we did not handle COVID well. Years of life lost up to age 75 during COVID pandemic. We had 2,000 excess deaths. So 9 million people versus 2,000 per 100K, a total of 9 million, versus UK 722, Germany 600, Canada 800. Wow, those Japanese, they only had 21 excess deaths for people under 50. Mortality rate for strokes. US is green, the other countries are blue. So we spend more. You would think the green bar should be way lower than any of the other bars, given that we spend double. And here we are. Okay, but I digress a little bit. So let's go back to. So my point is just saying like more transparency. Government should not be involved. I don't know. I'll let you guys decide if you think that's the answer. I don't think it's working. Education. Republicans offer a plan to cultivate K through 12 schools, ensure safe learning environments free from political meddling. I thought it was going to say free from gun violence. That wouldn't be on message. And restore parental rights. Also a proper pronoun, apparently. Project 2025, overhaul BIE schools to put parents and children first. I don't even know what BIE means. Let's see. What does BIE mean when describing schools? Bureau of Indian Education? Okay, that sounds to me like a ChatGPT hallucination. But safe learning environments free from political meddling, is that really our biggest problem. Let's see. U.S. student math aptitude versus other countries. Okie dokie. Here's a good one from the Pew Research Center. Now, granted, this is from 10 years ago. Why isn't that showing? Let me find a more recent one. How about this one? Okay. This is also from 10 years ago. That's unfortunate. I'm going to keep looking. And if I can't find it, I will give up on it. But I want to look one more time. 2022. Here we go. So in reading, Jesus, 24th, in math, 36th, and in science, 28th. That is no bueno. So what is the Republican Party's answer to this very concerning poor performance in reading and math? Let's go back to the summary. It is freeing the learning environments from political meddling and restoring parental rights. I think the argument there is if you believe that the U.S. aptitude in math and science and reading and writing is because of, meddling from politics, then I guess this will be solve all your problems. Just get all that woke out and suddenly everybody will be doing calculus and reciting Plato. But I'm not super blown away by this platform. I think so far the theme of both Project 2025 and the official Republican platform is everything will be fine once you get the federal government out of it. And I don't know. I think everything is not fine. And I don't think everything is caused by the federal government. But that's just me. Okay, law and order. Restore safety in our neighborhoods by replenishing PDs, restoring common sense policing, and protecting officers from frivolous lawsuits. Okay, that's the Republican platform. Project 2025, continuous vetting and investigations of aliens. Yeah, I'm all for replenishing police departments. I'm not sure about making officers immune from lawsuits. I think there should be some accountability there. But on this one, it's not quite as, I think the education and healthcare ones are kind of out of touch with. It's like, oh, you've got a broken leg and it's like, hey, here's a couple of Band-Aids. Okay, foreign policy. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Republicans will promote a foreign policy centered on the most essential American interests. 2025 says minimize barriers to collaboration. Okay. Not really taking a strong position on specifics there. Voting rights and election integrity. Secure our elections. Voter ID, paper ballots, proof of citizenship, one-day voting. I like to say one-day voting to kind of make it clear, like you are removing access. When you say you can, like, if you were a store and you wanted to get a lot of people to come to your store, you wouldn't just open one day. You probably open multiple days and have long hours, but that is not the Republican platform. Now, as for bringing some documentation and more security, I'm actually like, I'm fine with that. But I'm not down with one-day voting. Project 2025, not explicitly addressed. Okay. Environmental and energy policies. Republicans will end Democrats' unlawful and un-American crypto crackdown. Oh my God. End the war on oil and natural gas. Well, okay. If oil and natural gas keep spewing carbon into the atmosphere, and that creates unsustainable climate change that then results in extreme weather, fires, droughts, which you don't want, mass migration, like burning more oil doesn't seem like it'll help. Okay. Next. Okay, so then I asked it, well, where is there the least overlap? So that's where you see most alignment between Project 2025 and the official Trump platform. Just to summarize, let's see. Build the wall, drill more oil, cut all regulations, keep spending more on the military, don't do anything about healthcare, get the woke out of the classroom, spend more on police, unclear, one-day voting, and pretty much nothing other than drilling on environmental. So is that the country you want? Do you want a country that's just about the wall? I'm down with the wall. I'm okay with the wall. I'm not down with the drilling. I'm not down with slashing every regulation you can find. I'm not down with providing kind of cost plus contracts to military vendors. I'm definitely not down with spending twice as much on healthcare to get worse results. And the answer being like, oh, just keep government out of it. Because you cannot say keep government out of it when the government is one of the biggest payers for healthcare through Medicare. Like, let's do a little fact check here. How much of U.S. healthcare costs are from Medicare? 25%. Medicare spending is $1 trillion. So, like it or not, the government is involved in healthcare. So we should get the maximum bang for our buck. And then don't do anything about education other than keeping political meddling out, but do nothing else. More for police, I'm okay. So I'm actually with Trump and Project 2025 on border security and more resources for police. But I'm not with them on more immunity for police officers. And I'm not with them on this weird foreign policy, which is like unclear. And I'm not with them on one-day voting. And I'm not with them on just getting as much oil out of the ground as you can. Okay, where is there the least? So let me know. Actually, let me know in the chat. So far, where there was lots of overlap, how do you feel about that? I feel like those areas of overlap between 2025 and the Trump platform, they kind of feel like they're designed to piss people off, but they're not really designed to solve problems. Wouldn't it be amazing if candidates espouse policies that solve problems? I know some of you are thinking, oh, you Yang Gang, you guys are all about trying to solve problems. But it's true. We are. Okay. Proposals that are not mentioned in the Republican platform, but do appear in 2025. 2025 advocates for ICE reform, order ICE to stop closing out pending immigration cases and apply the Immigration and Nationality Act. 2024 platform does not mention ICE. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if some of the closing out of pending cases is related to that bipartisan thing that Trump blocked. And so maybe they couldn't talk about it because he blocked it. Reform of defense industrial base. Ooh. Improving internal processes that incentivize partners to procure U.S. defense systems. Wow, that sounds like more sales for like the military industrial complex. Yeah, for better or for worse, I would say for better. The Republican platform doesn't take a big position on that. Overhaul of schools. Not much there that they disagree on. Proposals in the Republican platform that are not mentioned in 2025. So the Republican platform proposes to cancel electric vehicle, what they call mandates, which I think is a poor use of the English language in that I think they're referring to the subsidies. But is there a mandate? I don't think there is a mandate necessarily. Let's ask. Let's do a fact check on ourselves. Is there a federal mandate for auto companies to produce EVs? I thought it was mainly subsidies and tax incentives. There isn't a single overarching federal mandate. However, there are regulations, incentives, and policies that encourage. Yeah, I get it. Oh, there's a zero emission vehicle mandate by California. Okay, but that's not really a federal thing. And then there's the corporate fuel economy standards, which you could argue like they're saying, hey, we should be more energy independent. I wouldn't call that a mandate, but I think the Republican Party takes liberties with the English language. Reinstate the 1776 Commission. So this was in the Republican convention platform, but not in Project 2025. What the hell is it? Oh, I forgot what that thing was. Let's see. What is the 1776 Commission? Advisory Committee promoting patriotic education. Oh, emphasize a version of American history that highlights nation's founding ideals and achievements of the founding fathers. Okay. I don't know if that's like the top priority. How about just having having teachers teach the full story of American history, all of the good and all of the bad? Why can't we do both? It's like a complete reading of the history. No taxes on tips. 2024 platform, we will eliminate taxes for millions of restaurant and hospitality workers. 2025 does not talk about it. Okay. But they're not that far apart. I mean, where they are aligned is generally on the big things. So when Trump says, "Oh, I don't know what Project 2025 is," I'll let you all decide. Like, have you heard Trump talk about border security? Have you heard Trump talk about more domestic energy production? Have you heard him talk about removing regulations, more on military, government out of healthcare, getting politics out of the classroom? Like, yeah, basically, he is Project 2025. There's nothing really, they're not that far apart. It's weird that he talks about it like it's this strange thing. I think it could be that he just doesn't have a strong uh, appetite for long documents. And so he's probably like, I'm not going to read a 900-page thing. I mean, in fairness, I'm not reading it. But even this summary is freaking long. Okay. So then what I did is I asked about topics that I care about. Now, not all of you will care about the same topics, but I do care about things like reducing debt and reducing deficit spending so we can have some kind of semblance of, fiscal responsibility. So let me do this. I'm going to go through the top issues that I care about, and I'm going to give you the cheat sheet on where Trump and Project 2025 stand on the issues that I particularly care about, and hopefully many of you do. So stay tuned for that in 1 minute. Before we do that, I'm going to have to give a shout out to our channel members. And if you value this kind of content, like, let's be honest, this is not mainstream, YouTube Shorts, TikTok friendly content. This is we are going hardcore into the details, into the nuances. And because of that, like, there's no way this channel is going to be like 1 million or 10 million subscribers, like maybe someday, but not anytime soon. So the way we kind of cover our costs for operating the channel is largely through our channel memberships. And the biggest supporter is Soldier One, who is a member of the Nerd Cabinet. So thank you, Soldier One, for over 4 years of support. Incredible. Then we have the Nerd Congress, which is right under Soldier One. And that is Kristen Slevin, Bike, Zig PC, and Emily Quinn. Some of them have been freaking Kristen Slevin's 55 months. Even Emily is like longtime supporter, but as a member, almost a year. So this is amazing. Then we go one level down to our Nerd City Council. Gene, David, DK, Jack Lego, Mr. History, Mona, Vaughn, Yang, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Daniel, Jeremy, Mickey, Yoda, Jackson, and Kiyu, Ben, Truth. What happened? There it is. Nate, Mark, JD, Toyota, Ada, Grits, Jam, Paulie, Curly, Human, Yang, Sagi, and Osama. Okay, and then we have our registered nerds, which is only $1.99 a month. It's like nothing, guys. And I will show you those wonderful nerds now. There's a little bit of delay on this cursor. I think this new camera, because it does this crazy like AI whatever to the image, it gives everything a little bit of a delay. Okay, here they are. These are all our registered nerds. God bless them. They're all amazing. Some of them have been with us a long time, over 5 years. Joe Tramontano is our youngest nerd. And our oldest registered nerd is Brandon David. All right. So let's get back to me now asking about the issues that I care about. Okay, so I said, hey, what does Project 2025 and the official Republican platform say about reducing the debt? I think right now, just as a little fun fact, how much of federal budget is servicing the debt? In 2023, U.S. government spent 500 billion on interest payments alone. Yeah. So we spend $500 billion every year just on interest on the debt that we've ran up. We're like a, 22-year-old that just got a credit card, just blowing the thing up. So what are the Republicans going to do about it? Project 2025 actually emphasizes fiscal responsibility. Oh, okay. Balancing the budget, but not raising taxes, and maintaining a strong national defense. So the only way you're going to do that is by reducing spending, and you're probably going to have to touch the entitlement programs. But you said you don't want the government involved in healthcare, so then how are we going to find? Let's be clear. What is the annual deficit? What is the annual budget deficit in 2023? $1.7 trillion. And some of you are like, oh, look, Joe Biden, he's so terrible. He can't run a business like Trump. Okay, what was and I'm not going to do 2020. I'm not going to give him the COVID year. The federal deficit in 2019. $1 trillion. Marked significant increase compared to Trump grew the deficit over previous years by cutting taxes. 4.6%. Oh my God. And then just for giggles, deficit in 2020. Oh my God, it's going to be ridiculous. This is Trump's last year in office. Oh, 3 trillion. Frickin' A. You know who was president at that point? Golly. Okay, so let's get back to the 2025 plan. So they say they want to balance the federal budget, cutting spending by damn near $2 trillion. I think you're going to have to do both. This is why I probably will never run for office. I think we need to cut spending and increase taxes. And I wish there were a magical way to balance a budget without cutting spending or raising taxes, but I don't think that exists. Not when you're 2 trillion in the red every year. Limiting Fed reserves, role in deficit financing, transparency and awareness. Actually, 2025 has some interesting ideas here. There's like some semblance of economics. What is the Trump official platform? Growth as a solution. Of course, we'll grow our way out of this. They've been saying that since freaking Reagan. Oh, don't worry. We don't need to raise more taxes, and we don't even need to cut any spending. We'll just grow through it. Cutting wasteful government spending, but it doesn't name it. Let's see. Let's do this. How much economic growth would be required in the US to achieve a balanced budget without cutting spending or raising taxes? 35% GDP growth. Are you effing serious? So, anybody who's like, don't worry, we'll remove these regulations. When was the last time the US had 35% economic growth? Probably like World War II. That's crazy. I mean, we're typically okay, so let's be fair. Hold on. How does that compare to historic GDP growth during boom times in recent US history? Okay, so even after World War II, it grew at 5%. In the 1960s, it grew 4 to 5%. In the 80s, it occasionally reached 7%. In the 1990s, during the tech boom, 4%. And then before the financial crisis, it grew 2 to 4%. Yeah, guys, this is crazy. This is crazy talk. I mean, it might make you feel better to say, like, you don't have to look, who wouldn't want a life where you didn't have to cut expenses and you didn't have to contribute more? Well, I would want that too. But when you're currently spending $2 trillion more than you take in every year, you cannot grow your way out of that. Not alone. Maybe growth can help. Oh, maybe you get to 5% growth. That'd be great. Be historic. But 35%? Come on, man. All right, anyway. So that's what they say about the financial, fiscal responsibility. They don't really want to name anything they're going to cut. They definitely don't want to raise taxes. In fact, they want to cut taxes. And they're going to say that we're going to get 35% GDP growth. Good luck with that. What do the documents say about access to abortion? I'm pretty sure a majority of the country, even if they don't want to get or wouldn't want to get an abortion themselves, I think generally support a person's right to do it. It's a personal thing. None of my business. Project 2025, defunding abortion, reversing the approval of chemical abortion drugs, and protecting life and foreign assistance. So 2025 is classic Republican stuff. And the Trump convention platform, right to life, defund Planned Parenthood, support Hyde Amendment. Yeah, we knew that. Very anti-abortion. What do they say about climate change? This is something that I care about because I want my grandchildren to have a planet that is inhabitable by human beings. Project 2025, criticism of green policies cause an artificial crisis. Opposition to international climate agreements. Support for ending the war on fossil fuels. supports the continued use of coal, oil, natural gas. Now, if you believe that excess carbon is affecting the climate and warming the climate and messing with the whole planet, I'm not sure that attacking green policies, pulling out of international climate agreements, and drilling more and burning more coal is going to solve that problem. So I'm not down with Project 2025. What does a Republican convention platform blessed by Trump say? Opposition to Green New Deal. Support for energy independence, which is use of fossil fuels. Skepticism of climate science. Skepticism about human impact, suggesting that science is not settled. Okay. So not exactly the greenest positions, but that's their prerogative. Then I asked it, what does Project 2025 and the Trump platform say about merit-based immigration? Because remember, Donald Trump promised in the All In podcast that he would want to grant a visa to every immigrant who graduated from college in the US. And then about 4 hours later, he walked that back. So 2025 is for a merit-based immigration system. And it criticizes the H-1B, calls for its transformation into an elite mechanism to bring in only top foreign workers at the highest wages. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm down with that. Just as a reminder, if you own a company and you want to hire someone who, like, let's say is an AI engineer who just got an advanced degree from like Stanford, but they happen not to be a US citizen, but they just spent years here getting that training, you are not guaranteed the ability to hire them, even if they're one of the 100 people in the country that have that skill set. It's pretty nuts. But meanwhile, if someone wants to apply for asylum, they can be granted temporary permission to stay, and then 10 years later, they'll get a court date, which is just nuts, and highly abused. I think only like, I don't know. Let's get the actual number. What percent of U.S. of migrants applying for asylum in the U.S. who are granted a court date actually receive asylum status? One in five. So 80% do not get approved. And then not everybody even goes to the hearings. So the vast majority of people who are applying for asylum either won't go to their trial or their court hearing, or if they do go, only 20% of them will actually be granted asylum. So it's a freaking gigantic loophole. Meanwhile, companies that want to compete in the global market cannot hire top talent. It's crazy. Okay, so the Republican platform supports immigration system that prioritizes skills and merit. It does not talk about the H-1B. It remains broader on immigration reform without delving into specifics. Okay, so on immigration, I would say they seem a little bit more, certainly 2025 seems a little bit more reasonable in my opinion. But Yeah, I think both are not terrible on immigration in terms of now. If you compare what's in the platform with what you see Trump say, I mean, when was the last time you heard Trump in a rally talk about merit-based immigration? I don't think it's a hot topic for his base. Okay, so then I asked, hey, what do they say about containing the costs of healthcare and social security sustainability, basically entitlements? Um, let's take a look at that. Project 2025 emphasizes the need to reform by reducing regulatory burdens. There it is again. Yeah, well, shifting towards value-based care, that would be good. Replacing fee for service with value-based payments. There are certain elements of 2025 that are not crazy. Social Security. Both programs should be reformed with an emphasis on competition, innovation, and personal responsibility. Does not propose specific cuts. Okay, so with Social Security, as a reminder, when they originally designed the Social Security program, I mean, oh no, hold on. Check. Let's just fact check ourselves right here. When Social Security was originally introduced in the US, what was the average lifespan of a recipient? The average life expectancy was around 60 years for men. For people who reach the age of 65, the age at which they could start receiving benefits, the average lifespan was 77 years. Okay, so when it was introduced, they were assuming people would be collecting Social Security benefits for around 12 years. Okay. Now we'll say, today, what is the average lifespan a US citizen who reaches 65 and is entitled to Social Security benefits? So when it was introduced, they would live on average to 77. And now they could live to between 84 and 87. And so if you're putting money in and you're expecting people to take money out for 12 years, because they on average will expire at 77, and now they're going to be on Social Security for 22 years, that math doesn't work. So you can't just say like, oh, we're not going to cut anything. Like, you either are going to cut something or you're going to collect more from the people paying into it. That's just math. If people are living longer and drawing out money every month, if you do an extreme case, if people live to 100, where would that money come from? So that's just, nobody's really willing to talk about this. And I don't think the Democrats are talking about it either, to be fair. But certainly the Republicans are just kind of saying like, oh, what are they saying? On healthcare, they say promoting transparency, whatever. That's not going to change. That's Band-Aid on a broken leg. Like, they've been saying that for decades, since I was a kid, hearing Republicans say, oh, we just need more competition and everything will work. It's like, bruh, we spend twice as much and get worse results. And we have more competition here than in most developed countries. That's not doing it. Okay. What is Trump's official Social Security position? uh, asserts protecting Social Security, rejecting any cuts to these benefits. Instead, the platform emphasizes safeguarding the future of Social Security. Okay, so you're basically not going to try and solve. You know that we are on a train that's about to go over a cliff, and you're just going to do nothing. Let's see. At the current rate, when will Social Security run out of money? 2033. So I guess this is someone else's problem 10 years from now. The trust funds will be depleted in 10 years. And then it will reduce its payouts to 80%. When was the last time you heard, frankly, Trump or Harris talk about this? This is some bull. You've got to consider taxing people more or reducing the benefits to wealthy people, but you can't just watch this thing go bankrupt. Like, that doesn't seem humane. I don't know. Call me a bleeding heart. I think things should be sustainable, and you should get to a place where the amount you take in is equal to the amount that you spend. It shouldn't be a system where you take in a little bit and spend more every year. That is not a recipe for financial homeostasis. Okay. Then I said, hey, what do these documents say about Russia, Gaza, Israel, Iran, China, and foreign policy? So Project 2025 actually says here, presented a divided viewpoint on Russia, particularly regarding Russia, Ukraine. One faction supports U.S. involvement. So it looks like there's some diversity. I know that's like a bad word in the MAGA cinematic universe, but there looks like there is some diversity of opinion within the Republic, within Project 25 on Russia. On Gaza, Israel, Iran, criticizes Biden's approach to the Middle East, supports Abraham Accords, emphasizes Iran as a principal threat. China identifies China as the greatest threat to U.S. interests. U.S. must adopt a comprehensive and sustained strategy to counter China. Criticizes past administrations failure of past administrations to hold China accountable. Calls for a strategic decoupling. In general, Project 2025 advocates for a foreign policy that prioritizes national security and economic interests, criticizes administrations for being too accommodating to authoritarian regimes. You know, I'm not seeing anything crazy from Project 2025 on foreign policy. Personally, I don't think Russia, I don't know why there's such a division of opinion on Russia. I think it would be hard to say that Russia has acted as a provider of peace to its neighbors. On the Middle East, I wish they would talk about a two-state solution more. On China, I'm all for the decoupling. I don't think any one country should be so dependent on another, especially if it's a competitor. Yeah. Okay, what does Trump say? Ooh, the Republican platform, okay, condemns Russia's actions in Ukraine. Really? Ooh, is that true? Huh. I didn't know that. I wonder if that's a a hallucination. So let me go to the official Republican platform and say here, Ukraine. Come on. Ukraine. Why isn't a Control F working? Russia? Okay, let me refresh this. Okay. Nope. Control F. Ukraine. Oh my God. Let's just do this. What is in the 2024 Republican Party convention approved platform about Ukraine? Notably brief, focusing on America first. Yeah. So I think we've got a little bit of a hallucination on this answer. And which then makes you kind of suspect of the rest of it, but I don't have time to read the 900 pages. The platform supports Israel, criticizes the Iran nuclear deal. That sounds right. Echoes sentiments of 2025 and identifying China as a threat. Summary: both take a strong stance. I don't think they do on Russia. Definitely on Iran and China. Okay. Well, this is you guys are seeing the whoops. You guys are seeing the reality of AI. It is amazing 90% of the time, but 10% of the time it gets it wrong. And I don't feel comfortable like leaving that wiggle room. So I'm going to fact check it right now. We're going to go back to why wasn't the Control F working? That's so weird. Let's try it one more time. Oh, now it's working. Okay. So we'll say Ukraine, Russia. It was working. China. Why is China coming up so much in there? Dude, is it literally not mentioned in the Republican platform? Wow, look, China comes up. Let's say life. Yeah. Life comes up. Freedom. Yeah. In caps sometimes. But if you look at Russia, nothing. Ukraine, nothing. What about Taiwan? But China does come up 4 times. Interesting. Yeah, so I think we have fact-checked that the Republican official position is nothing on Russia and Ukraine. I'm sure the MAGA people are like, oh, Russia, Russia, Russia. It's like, bruh, they're in a war in Europe. How long has that war been going on? When did Russia invade Ukraine? So it's been over 2 years, 2.5 years. And remember when they first invaded it, a lot of the ultra MAGA were like, oh, there's no real invasion. It's just a hoax. They're just doing a practice exercise. Whatever. Okay, what do the documents say about free trade versus tariffs? Guys, I just realized we've been on for over an hour now, but there's 150 of you in the live stream. So first of all, welcome, nerds. Welcome, all of you. Secondly, do me a huge and like this thing, because if 150 are in the live stream, it means other people should see it on replay. They're not going to see it if you don't smash the crap out of that like button. Ooh, just went to 149. Okay, back to 150. All right. So I'll go a little bit more, but then I do need to make some cheesesteak sandwiches for the nerdlings. I think Mrs. Nerd's going to pass on the cheesesteak sandwiches, but we'll see. Okay. I asked about trade. 2025 free trade. Sounds very, I think 2025 is like kind of more of old school Republican. Critical of tariffs. Yeah. Makes sense. Whereas the Trump platform is less explicit about free trade and it supports tariffs. Then I said, what do they say about gerrymandering reform, ranked choice voting, term limits, and other democracy reforms? Basically, like very kind of Andrew Yang, Forward Party, Institute for, what was it? Political Innovation? Yeah, Institute for Political Innovation, as advocated by, hold on one second. If you guys don't know, the Institute for Political Innovation is pretty cool. And Catherine Gale is the author of the book that started it all. Go check it out. A lot of Andrew Yang's advocacy in his TED Talk comes from this group here. Okay. Let's get back to our original. Wow, this mouse is like on delayed. Oh my God, I think I'm gonna have to update my OS or something. Something's not happy. So what does Project 2025 or the official Trump platform say about ranked choice voting, about open primaries, about gerrymandering reform, term limits? 2025 does not address gerrymandering reform, does not mention ranked choice voting, does suggest the need for term limits for certain federal positions, in especially regulatory agencies. Okay. But nothing about term limits for electeds. That's interesting. And then what does Trump say? The Trump platform does not address gerrymandering reform, does not support ranked choice voting. There's no mention of it. Endorses the idea of term limits for congressional members. That's cool. And then election integrity. So nothing about ranked choice or open primaries, nothing to solve the root cause of a lot of our issues. All right. Well, we could go on for a long time, nerds. But as they say, Daddy's got to make steak sandwiches for the boyos. So I'm going to summarize, and then I'm going to let you all go back to nerdy days. So first of all, Project 2025 isn't nearly as scary as some folks are describing it. You know, it's not like some secret plan that's full of anything that's that different than what Trump talks about. So I'd actually say Project 2025 is more of a complement to Trump's rhetoric, in some ways, a moderating influence. So if you ever hear someone say like, oh, don't vote for Trump, he's got Project 2025, it's like, well, you shouldn't vote for Trump because he's Trump. But Project 2025, it's not like some long list of new crazy policies that Trump himself hasn't talked about. The second thing is that nothing in Project 2025 or the Republican platform really goes at root causes of problems. You know, when you think about healthcare, climate, income inequality, homelessness, international conflicts, all of their solutions are like less taxes, less government, more freedom. It's like, okay, how's that going to solve those problems? But their policies and platforms do bumper sticker well. Now you could say, Tom, what are the Democrats doing? We'll do a similar live stream after the Democratic National Convention when they publish their official platform, and we'll hold them to the same test. So if you found this helpful, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Smash the like button and comment below if there's anything that you found surprising about what we discussed, or if you disagree with me, like, is Project 2025 more scary than what I was able to dig up? Hopefully, we'll hear from you soon, and have a great weekend. Bye, nerds.